Good afternoon, Gossip Talk Shows family. It's Nomsa here at Gossip Talk Shows. Find your own voice, lead from within. So I'm on my own today, guys, and also I'm broadcasting late at 4 p.m. today because I had a meeting, and so with the Gossip Talk Shows coaches. So that took a very, very long time. And hopefully you guys are going to enjoy what I'm going to talk about. So the topic today is how to unveil an understanding and coping with a spiritual husband and spiritual wives. Coping with the spiritual influences, spiritual husband that influences relationships, that destroys relationships. So what is a spiritual husband? Some people might say, Nomsa, I haven't got a clue what you are talking about. And you are right. So a spiritual husband or a spiritual wife, hold on a minute. I need to switch off my phone. Spiritual husband and spiritual wife, they do exist. And for those who don't know, it's fine. Just work with me. If you are a Christian, I'm sure I have lots of Ngozi Talk Shows family who are Christians and they will understand what I'm talking about. So a spiritual husband, where there is a spiritual husband or a spiritual wife, is where I'm going to try to explain as clear as possible, speaking everybody's language, not Christian language, is where you find a beautiful woman who is very sexy, very beautiful, very educated, lots of money, or sometimes they don't have money, but they're beautiful. When you look at her, you're like, wow, she's amazing. And that person, they're single. They can't seem to keep a man. They're single. And men come, they go without any explanation. Or when they do stay, it's either they abuse them or they mistreat them. Physically, we're talking about physical abuse or simple emotional abuse. Or simple, that person, if they are in a relationship, they'll be very unhappy. There will be so many things. And this person will not understand why they are going through what they are going through. They won't understand it. And then you'll find a man, spiritual wife. You'll find a man that is handsome. He's got all the looks. He's got everything. But he can't seem to hold on to a woman. Let me shut the door because I don't want I get in trouble with YouTube if somebody's playing music. If my video picks up that music, I get in trouble with the YouTube copyright. My daughter is playing something on her iPad. So you find this man, he's handsome, he's got everything that a woman wants. They can either, even if they don't have a good job or they're educated, the spiritual husband don't go to people because of the material, but you find this man that he has everything, but they are single, and you ask yourself why. Or sometimes they are in a relationship and they'll be unhappy in that relationship because that spiritual wife will not allow them to be happy in the actually physical relationship they have with their spouse. So they will be really, really unhappy. It will affect them financially. The spiritual husband is there to steal, to take everything, to make you miserable, because is very jealous. Is a jealous person. A spiritual wife is a jealous person. So they're just there to actually kill, destroy. If somebody is unhappy inside, they go into depression. And that's why you find so many people are into depression and they don't understand why, and they're single, their lives, they have it all. Sometimes you find somebody who has it all, but they're not happy and they don't understand why. Sometimes to know that you have a spiritual husband or spiritual wife that's the case. There are some people, how do we attract those things? In life, when you enter a covenant with something, there's lots of people. If you go on YouTube, if you go online, there's lots of people who offer so many things. Like they offer meditation, they offer different spiritual things. So sometimes you don't have to enter spiritual things, or sometimes they happen with our forefathers. We don't know who they worship. So if you are somebody like me, you have to, as a Christian, you have to try to find out your parents or your ancestors who they worship before, because not everybody worship God. Some people worship other gods, and that brings a spiritual husband, the spiritual things that you weren't able to understand. There are some people call them the gods of mountains. Some people they call these gods were apparently used to, when they needed rain, they will ask for rain and they will rain. So all those things, our parents and our grandparents, this is not all about Black people, by the way. Some people, different cultures, they have done it. I used to live, I'm not going to say where I live, in Henley, and there was another guy, English guy, he used to show me, and he'll be like, you see this is my necklace of protection. And I'll be like, what does it do for you? And he'll be like, it's protecting me from this. And I was like, where did you get it? And that's voodoo. And they'll be like, I went to Africa, so I got myself and my family some protection. So that is worshiping other gods. So I'm not talking about it happens in our culture, Black culture. It happens in a white culture, white community as well. People get involved in witchcraft. A psychic, their god is a god of witchcraft. If somebody says, I have spoken to a psychic is, in Africa, we call them Sangoma. And that means they are using the dead to communicate, get to know the future. So if you are somebody who exposes yourself to those kind of things, that means you're going to have a spiritual husband that is going to appear in the dream from the dead. And that's why so many women and men, sometimes they dream about sleeping, having sex. Sometimes somebody will tell you, or sometimes some people don't talk about it, but they wouldn't understand why do they keep having dreams, having sex with somebody, or sometimes a man will have a dream having sex with their ex. Why would you dream having sex with your ex? Why would you dream that? So some people will have those dreams, or some people will fantasize like they'll have celebrities that they have a crush on. Hey. Hey guys, those who are watching on Facebook, because the talk shows family, Facebook and family, I can see family that are watching YouTube as well, and LinkedIn, just feel free to talk. And sometimes you have these women, they'll have a dream, having sex. Maybe they have a celebrity crush. And then in that celebrity, that spirit husband comes as a celebrity. It will come as a face of somebody that you have a crush, or it could be a celebrity, or it could be somebody, your family member. Because if he comes in using familiar faces, that means you're going to trust that face. It could be a dead person, your relatives that have died a long time ago. So they will come that person, that spirit will come using that face. And then you win their trust because that face is familiar to you. It could be like, my dad is dead. So a spirit husband could come using my daddy's face. Because I love my dad, I welcome that dream. And that will be programmed, that will be an attachment. And then that spirit end up being attached to me, or start having sex. It could be different. It comes in different forms. So that's why you hear sometimes some people saying, I keep having dreams, they're having sex. Or sometimes you'll find people going through challenges in life with their marriages, and they don't understand why they are going through what they go through. Either they are finding really hard to find a partner, or they are finding it really hard to find happiness. If they do find that partner, the happiness, it becomes a struggle. Either the partner changes, all of a sudden they become something. A woman that they've met, they've loved, they smile how they loved you. When they look at you, they want to kill you. So that is a sign that there is something going on, a spiritual husband or spiritual wife. And most of the things that I'm going to warn people is, when somebody like you go, there's these coaches that do manifestation. And they say to you, when you are you're doing your manifestation for your husband or for your partner to be, you have to believe that that person is already there. Yes, it's fine. That is 100% fine. But when it comes to a point where you believe and then you start creating an altar on the bed, putting pillows, in that pillows, you put a teddy bear, pretending that is your partner that has arrived, making it real. That is spiritual. That is you creating a spiritual husband. When you're manifesting, the proper manifesting of God, even those who are Christians or non-Christian, you manifest believing and trusting that your dreams that you're manifesting have already happened. That is 100% true. They've already happened because you want God to bring that man, that woman that you are manifesting. You want the blessings. So you have to believe that, yes, if you're manifesting for money, you have to believe that that money, yes, you've got it. That is a true manifestation. But when it comes to somebody asking you to create an altar, that is creating an altar of darkness that brings energy. It means, yes, your husband is going to come, but you are already creating an altar, bringing a spiritual husband before the spiritually real husband, the physically true husband comes to your life. So for those who manifest like that, putting teddy bears like, I'm manifesting for my husband, or I'm manifesting for my finances, and then there's a ritual involved. Manifesting for finances, it doesn't need any ritual. You need to tell the universe, what do you want? Out loud. The universe read now. Tell the universe, I desire to have my finances. Whatever is in your heart, if it involves you having to do ritual, that's creating something. That is asking the universe to help you with finances and putting some pudding and dessert on top. And that pudding, it comes with pain. That's why some people, they don't enjoy the things that they want to enjoy because they involve ritual on top of it. As a Christian, we manifest. We want our husband, we want to get married. Read a scripture. If you are a Christian, God is a spirit. God is a human being like you, like me. Tell God your desires. You don't need to do ritual, no ritual. You don't need to put a pillow on the bed, pretending that is your husband that is coming your way. What does a pillow got to do with the husband or to do with the wife that you seek? If you agree with me, say amen, because I don't believe in that. So I'm not saying they are wrong, but all I'm saying is they have some beliefs that they believe in. So before sometimes you enter all these covenant, it's a covenant that when somebody says, okay, you can manifest. But when you're manifesting, you have this vision as things have happened, put a pillow on the bed, pretend this is your husband, or just make the bed as there's two people sleeping on that bed. I say, as a child of God, or even if I wasn't Christian, I would say, this sounds creepy. I don't want to be part of it. But you can if you really want. That means that means you will find that husband that you want. But that husband will come with a pain because you've already created another thing, another spiritual thing, a spiritual wife or spiritual husband. So you have to be prepared for that. And that spiritual husband, they dominate the society. Spiritual wives and spiritual husband, they dominate this society. I am talking from experience myself. Oh yes, I'm talking from experience. In 2016, I actually, I came to this point where I had to look back at my life. My life wasn't the way I wanted it to be. I wanted to achieve things, achieve goals, but I wasn't happy. So there's a time where I was like, you know what, I'm going to fast. So now I'm talking to Christians that speak my language. I'm going to fast. So I fasted for 40 days. When I fasted for 40 days, I think before my end of 40 days, I decided that every unforgiveness that I was holding in my heart, I decided to face it. From the day I became a teenager, there were some people that were upsetting me, or sometimes at school, or parents, or what. I've never had anger with my mom or my dad or my grandparents because I was a loved child. In that place, I will be lying to you. But there was anger that I was holding. So through that anger, I had to face it. Unforgiveness, I had to face it there with my exes that dumped me and told me that I wasn't enough for them. And that brought anger within me for rejecting me. How can you say I'm not enough? You think you're better than me. So that was anger. I left that anger. It was within me. But when I worked through the forgiveness, through the anger that I was holding, I didn't know that I opened the door. And for me, I lived a life where I just go and do things as a Christian. I'll dress like non-Christian. I'll do so many things. But I didn't know that I was opening the door. But the day when I have decided that I wanted to follow Jesus completely, those who are watching video, I'm not trying to convert you to God, but this is my story. So I need you to listen to my story. And after I finish my fasting, the last day of my fast, and when I actually opened the door of God accepting me in his life, in his kingdom, he said, "No, sir, I accept you. You can enter." There was Lucifer came in and said, "No." And I said, "Why?" He said, "No, you belong to me." And I said, "I don't belong to no one. This is not a fantasy. This is not some sort of soap story. And I said, I do not belong to no one. I belong to me and I belong to God. And he said, no, sir, follow me. I'll make you great. I'll give you everything you ever wanted. And I said, how can you give me everything that I ever wanted? You give me pain. Lucifer gives pain. He does not care about nobody. And he was like, no, follow me. I said, no. And he said, okay, choose to follow. And I said, or follow me or follow God. And I said, I choose to follow your father, not you. And when I was talking to this thing, I couldn't understand. I got confused. What did I open? I called my pastor and everybody from church, and he came. I was talking, and my pastor confirmed. He explained. I didn't know any clue. I didn't have a clue what was happening. So he explained what I've done. So I chosen to change my ways. And those are the consequences. That the door where I was in darkness. And then I chosen to go to the light. So the darkness says, no, you belong to me. Your ancestors, they belong to me. Your fathers belong to me. And that means you do belong to me. And I said, no, I don't belong to you. So that's when he got pissed off. And he opened the door and brought every spirit you can ever imagine. The spirit of fornication, I could feel it. The joy. What does it mean when somebody talks about fornication? Men and women who loves to sleep around. The feelings, it was so awful. Finish of depression, the feeling of depression. He put me in hell. Spiritual husband. What does it mean when you have the spiritual husband? I was in my own hell. Not in a dream, in reality. But I kept fighting. I kept fighting, telling him to get lost. And at that moment, I could feel the separation in that, yes, I was on earth, but I was somewhere else as well. So he made me realize between the two worlds that actually he was irresponsible. He wanted me to know. And for those who like to get into occult, so those are the consequences. That's where you go. That you see when celebrities tells you that I've joined, that's Lucifer's children, his demons. So after he's done that, I kept fighting. And I said, no. I had to learn to communicate my want. But I knew at that moment, there was another energy, another spirit of God that was helping me, the angel of God that was guiding me through to fight him. And I did fight him. In the end, he went, piss off. You will fall. And I did. When I'm saying I did, I'm not talking it as a joke. And the spirit, then he'll open the door. That means the spirits were coming in. And the spirit, that people joined, the celebrities came and offered me an offer as well. I make you a celebrity. No, sir, you love music, you can sing. I give you whatever you want. I was like, get lost. Piss off. Sorry, God. I was like, get lost. So those are the things that's when I've learned. I'm not talking about this because of somebody coming and sit down with me and talking to me. I'm talking about the experience that I went through. And that's why I will never, if somebody says they want to help me with meditation, first we need to talk about which God are you, everything that we do in life. So for those who didn't know, when you have a business, and you have these people that you have created a tribe, and you go to that tribe, you need to know who are they worshiping? Which tribe are they on? Is it a normal tribe? Does this tribe has any occult or has anything? You have to ask those questions. And that's when it made me realize that not everything in this world is what we think it is. So if you go to business events or you meet coaches and they tell you this is how I work, you got to ask questions. So your coaching involve me gonna do some ritual meditation. This meditation, which God do you worship? You have to pray about it. And trust me, the answer will be given to you. Sometimes we believe that we are not amazing. We believe that we can't. We want somebody else to give us the answers that we are looking for. But the answers that we are looking for, we can ask God. God created the universe. He is the universe. You can speak to the universe. God created the earth. You can speak to the earth. The answers that we are searching for are there. They will be given to us. You don't have to be some kind of genius. You don't have to be that. If you want to know whether, can I work with NOMSA and be successful, you have to go and do your thing first. Speak to your God, or if you're a Christian, find out. Is she able to help me? Is she actually a child of God? Before, I wouldn't do those things. But when Lucifer actually showed me who he is, the man is crazy. He can be anything. He can give you the joy, the feeling of joy when you see somebody, you see a woman, even if they're crazy, you just want to do whatever you want to do. He can do anything. So that is my experience. That's where I've learned all these things. And it was like, you fall. I was like, I don't have to fall. Let me fall. I just follow your father. I don't need to do anything. I will just follow God. It was my choice that I will follow God. Because with God, there's no pain. The pain is normal pain that I have to experience, but it will go away. The challenges are there, but they'll go away. But with Lucifer, the day I piss Lucifer off, the day that he pisses me off, he would just destroy me and start torturing me. So when you follow whatever you follow, you have to play by the rules. But if the day you don't play by the rules, that's the day your life, it doesn't go according to plan. That's where I got to know about spiritual husband and spiritual wives. My pastor didn't say I was crazy, and I was like, we call it Christian, but we don't know. Why can't you teach us all these things? He was like, no, it's in the Bible. I preach every week. And I was like, I thought it's a joke. But I didn't know that Lucifer can come to life. He did. So those are the things that as Christian, you have to know. That when you actually manifesting for your husband, you have to manifest it the right way. Anything that involves you putting pillows, putting something, candles. God doesn't need candles. He needs a scripture. He needs you to tell him, oh God, arise, give me the anointing of my future husband or my future wife. Let it fall upon me. That's all he needs. He needs the anointing. He needs your voice to speak. So those are the things that I've learned. He needs you to speak. God wants you to speak. Whether you believe in the universe wants you to speak. Does not want you to light candles and say, come here. You light the candles when you're feeling romantic to you have a husband or you have a partner. You want to make things beautiful. You want to be romantic. That's when, or you go to a massage where they put the candles. They want you to feel good. That is it. But if somebody says, okay, you have to meditate and put candles, that is another thing that we have to talk about. When it comes to a Christian, manifesting is very, very simple. It's believing that the things that you want to happen in your life, the good things, they have happened and you have received it and God has given it to you, and you believing that God is going to help you to receive those things, and having hope and having faith, that is keeping things very simple. If let's say you're manifesting for your business to work really well, is reading books and doing things in your goals, what you're meant to do, the goals, and writing the goals and meeting people, manifesting, keeping things very simple. When you are manifesting and there is other things involved, that means we are worshiping something. And that something can create something that is called spiritually this and spiritually that. So that's how this world works. And mostly the Christians, we are very, very ignorant. And I was one of them that were ignorant. I was an ignorant Christian. That is, I'm a Christian, but I follow the world. When somebody says, no, I do this, I just go and test it. But when we do that, we create things. Spiritual husband, some of them are invisible, some of them are demons. They come as a familiar face. And some of them, they are really, really, really dominant. You can feel them even in the physically. Or sometimes you go to sleep, or sometimes you get up in the morning, you don't feel you go to sleep, you're okay, but then you wake up, you're not okay. Some people say, I feel like I go to bed tired. I go to bed, I'm okay, but when I wake up, it's like, I don't know, and it happens, it starts affecting your health. Those are the things that you have a spiritual husband or you have a spiritual wife. What can we do to actually get rid of this spiritual husband? I read Psalms 91 to get rid of Lucifer completely. You don't get rid of Lucifer anyway. He keeps coming back. He keeps coming back. So you can't get rid of his angels. They'll keep coming back as a Christian. That's why you have to be a prayer warrior. If you are a woman or a man that prays cute, that goes to church and showing off your clothing, what your outfit, attire that you're wearing that day, Lucifer loves it. Lucifer loves, like if you are in the choir, people who are in the worship team, Lucifer hates women who are in the worship team. He hates men who are in the worship team because from the beginning, Lucifer was the love of music. He loved music. And that's why he's recruiting these musicians. They don't know why, but that is the reason. He hates people going on top of him. He wants people down. So he was the first person, the son of God, who created music, who loved music. He's good at it. If you watch that Lucifer, when they're making the TV series, that is the symbol of who Lucifer is. He loves music. So if you go to church, because you have a solo that week, that day, and you say, hallelujah, God, give me... What's the song? Give me some something. Sing Amazing Grace. Yes, God is amazing, but when you finish, you have to learn to bind and cast out the man that is jealous. So he hates women and men who are in the worship team. So if you are a woman who is in the worship team, you've got to be a prayer warrior, because otherwise you end up with somebody in bed. If he hates women, he loves men, but he hates women. Spiritual husband, that is Jezebel. I'm lying now. That's Jezebel who hates women. He loves men. He doesn't. She's a queen. Let's talk about that some other day. So Lucifer hates people in the worship team. So you know what? He was the first person that is a child of God. He sang really well. He loved to play music until he left He was the first angel who played music. So if you are in the worship team, you've got to be a prayer warrior. And if you are a man who's in the worship team, you've got to pray. Pastors, he hates pastors. That's why pastors, so many pastors, you find them, they do fornication in the church. You find a pastor is married, but he's got 7 women in church that he sleeps with, leaders, people, and he hates them. Because they are taking people from him and teaching them how to follow Jesus. So he hates pastors. And that's why you see many pastors are involved in so many things that I don't even want to talk about. You can go on YouTube and see what these pastors are up to. So that's why too many people get involved in that is Lucifer. And that's what spiritual husband, spiritual wife. Some people that go to church, they know what I'm talking about. Or sometimes they know that they have a spiritual husband and they ignore it. And you don't have to ignore it. You have to look at it. And mostly the people that have a spiritual husband, if you're coming from a polygamy family, do you know what is a polygamy? A polygamy family is where somebody in the family has more than one wife. Or there are some people who are married more than 20 wives, 10 wives, 2 wives. My grandfather was married to more than 1 wife. He was 2 wives. So as a woman, I knew that I had a fight that I needed to fight as a Christian. So those are the things that you need to look at. If you're coming, anyone in the family, they married more than 2 wives. So that means you have a fight with a spiritual husband. Because what happens is, if that person has more than 20 wives or 60 wives, there are some people who have like 12 wives, 20 wives. I don't know. 1 wife is too much problem to tell you the truth. So they have those wives. But what happens is in the spirit, it means the woman in that village or in that city in the spirit, they are married to him. And it means there is an altar that has been created. And those people are married to that person in spirit without them knowing. So you have to break. You have to be somebody who knows how to break. Barricade, Dr. Olukoya and my brother Leroy Pagat, and they would tell you those things. Barricade, learn to barricade, to bind, barricade the spiritual husband and cover your life, your body with the blood of Jesus. And that's why you see so many Christians, they struggle to find wives, to find a husband because of Lucifer. I thought I belonged to God all my life. I became a Christian when I was very young. I used to go to church when I was very young. My parents, my family used to take me to church, and I continued going to church. Here's me thinking I'm believing in God. And one day, I think that was 2016. How old was I? Maybe I was 30 something, 38. Yeah, maybe. Or 37 or 36, I can't remember. Yeah, here's me thinking I'm a child of God. I put on Facebook and write down my my scriptures, but I didn't belong to God. And one day, I was like, my life is not really working the way I want. I want it to change. I want things to change. And then I've decided to fast 40 days. Beginning, it was tough. From the beginning, it was really tough because I wasn't used to it. But as time went by, I connected to the Holy Spirit and things were okay, fine, until I finished. And the last day, I was like, you know what? I'm connecting to the third heaven. God is in the third heaven, by the way. Second heaven is where the throne of grace is in the third heaven. The second heaven is where Satanism and the occult, where they store the blessings. So when you're praying, remember to mention anything that has been locked up. My husband, that has been locked up in the second heaven. Let the blood of Jesus break that chain. And if you're single, let my husband be released. If you're single and you're looking to get married and you can't get married, you can't find the right partner, that means it's locked up in the second heaven. That's where Lucifer looked at people's blessings. Billionaires, people who are meant to be billionaires, good health. You go to the doctors, and the other painful thing, what he showed me was, he was like, take a paper, and then a plain paper, I took it, like those paper where you do the photocopying thing, white paper plain. He was like, take it. Then I took it and I was like, look at it. Nothing there. And he was like, look at it again for the second time. So I looked at it, and it was written, there was words written on it. It was showing me that, Nomsa, I'm a God. My father is a God. I know how my father works. And Lucifer is a very, very clever man, but he cannot defeat God. And he said, look at it. And I looked at it. So he was showing me that this is why sometimes the doctors, somebody will go to the doctors, and the doctors will look in the microscope, and they will say, they give you a diagnosis. That doesn't exist. He can do that. So that's why he wanted me to know, I can do that. And he did it. He did it. I went to the doctors once, and the doctor started, after he left, they started investigating me for cancer. I was like, I don't have cancer. In my family, no one has cancer, so no chance. I'm not doing this. So I was like, I just went mad. I was like, no. But luckily, I've got good pastors. I've got people around me that dedicated their lives to help me, because I knew I was going to need help. So they helped me to pray. And then when I went back, and there was nothing there, but he had showed me what he does. But some people do accept it. When the doctor tells you that you have this, they accept it. But he showed me, he said, this is who I am. And he was like, none of your family will believe whatever I'm doing. And some of my family, they don't. And some people, they don't. When they go to the doctors, they believe that report, that is true. Some sickness are real. I'm not saying some sickness are not real, but some are not. He showed me, that's where I've learned, is like, look at the paper, Nom says plain. This is who I am. And I was like, it doesn't matter who you are, you can get lost and go. I would prefer to fall than to join something that I don't know. To me, Lucifer means death. Lucifer is a thief. Anything that you join, you have to give it something. So what was on the table? Or the people that you hear, they've joined the thing and you become their fans. That means you become their human blood sacrifice. Whenever they need blood, I have a fan there, I'm going to go take one of them and sacrifice them. Nothing is for free in this world. So that's all you're getting now, that nothing is for free. Those who join occult, there's a covenant that they sign. And that covenant, it will require them to give something, because you can't get something for free. Lucifer is Satan. I give you this, you got to give me something. And Lucifer wants things. So that means those people, when you hear a celebrity telling you that I joined this, I'm into occult, and you are their fans, you have to know it's not just celebrities, normal people, members of the family, when they've joined, That means there's something they have to give. If you listen to my pastors, they'll tell you, they teach us that nothing is for free. You don't join a cult and just say, I've joined and I'm just going to give me this. No, I'm just going to be a member. No, something has to give. So that's why we're talking about, back to the topic, a spiritual husband. How do we deal with a spiritual husband? You have to learn to bind and cast out the spiritual husband or spiritual wife. You read the scriptures. You can type on Google. Google will give you the list. For me, I use the Psalm 91. I think it was the Psalms that I use, and it helped, but it doesn't, you have to pray. I used the Psalms 91, and I follow Dr. Olukoya is my pastor, and my brother Leroy is on Facebook. He helped me a lot as well. He's just my angel from God. If somebody was Nomsa, choose between him and God, I won't choose anybody because he belongs to God. He's just there. He's a child of God. And Dr. Olukoya, you can look him up. Dr. Olukoya and Dr. Stella, you can look them up. They're really good with how to deal with the spiritual husband and all these hoochie things that people enter and they don't understand. And those who like to go to these who likes to go to psychics and stuff in Africa, we call them sangoma. It's a covenant. You form a covenant with somebody. Nothing is for free. Anything with God. All he asks is you to love him and accept him with all your heart. But with anything else, when you form a covenant with somebody, that means you have to give something. So that's when he creates a spiritual husband and a spiritual wife. And when you do find a coach in the business, somebody says, yes, let's manifest. I'm going to teach you how to manifest. Do it properly. It does not have to involve ritual. Manifesting for business, it means you manifest. It means you write down your goals. You take action, and your heart has to be in the right place. Your mindset, your emotions, they have to be in the right place. Nothing complicated. It's simple. But if it involves me doing other things, or you can meditate, if meditation involves doing other things, that means we are creating something. So you just have to say no. But you can say yes if you want. We all have a choice. So remember, the choices that we make in life, they define who we are, who we become in life. So you have to make your own choices when it comes to all those things. That's how the spirit husband and spirit wife work. So you have to learn to break evil soul tie between the spiritual husband and spiritual wife. There's a covenant. It means there's a covenant that has been formed between you and that spirit. So you have to learn to break the rings, bend to ashes. The ring, spirit, the wedding ring of a spiritual husband, it means in spirit you're already married. So if you are struggling you have a spiritual husband, you dreaming, having sex with the dream, with somebody you don't know in the dream, it means here you have an invisible ring. So you need to bend that ring to ashes. You need to divorce, issue a divorce to the spiritual husband and to the spiritual wife. Issue them a divorce. A man, you say a spiritual wife. A woman, you say a spiritual husband. So you have to issue them a divorce. Spiritual husband, stolen from you and took things and locked up your virtues and everything in the second heaven. So you have to ask God to release your virtues. Ask your God to have a voice in your life. It's very easy and very simple. It's all about the words. The words we speak, they determine who we become. If you want to connect to God, you have to call out God. God is it. The throne of grace is in the third heaven. The second heaven is where Lucifer locks up all the blessings. You see people suffering, finances, marriages, everything, education. That's where everything is locked up. The strong man is guiding the blessings. When you pray and you say, I bind and cast out, I bind and cast out, and God opens the door and the strong man is standing where your blessings are. So you have to learn how to bind and cast out, bind the strong man of your father's house, bind the strong man of your mother's house, and cast them out. Bind the rings of a spiritual husband and spiritual wife and cast them out. Burn them to ashes, the wedding ring, the clothes. Burn to ashes. So you can be free. That's how it works. It's very, very simple. Sometimes we complicate life because we go to people that says, okay, you know what? I can help you to achieve the goals that you want. And the goals, though, achieving those goals, manifesting is going to involve some creepy, hoochie stuff. Don't have to have some hoochie stuff. Anything that is involved with hoochie, that means we are worshiping other gods. If you are manifesting for a husband, it's very simple. A non-Christian, your heart has to be in the right place. You have to imagine that husband is calm. They have the movie, what do you desire in life? But don't imagine the face. You cannot make a decision for God. You cannot, if you fancy David Beckham, that becomes a spiritual husband or spiritual wife. You cannot say, I have seen my husband, he looks like David Beckham. It's a lie. That means you create spiritual husband. How I go into a relationship, for me, how I manifested, you're a Christian or you're non-Christian, for me, I said it out loud. God, you know my story. He knew my story. You knew me before I was born. Those are my words in my heart and out loud. You know my story. You know how messed up my life has been. The rejection that I've gone through, many telling me that I'm not enough. I was like, God, I'm tired of it. My way is not working. I've tried to look for men, but my life will end up with the same story. So I had to change my ways as well. I had to meditate, learn to pray. I had to learn to look after my inner being, my inner world. And then I said to God, you know my story. You know where my life has been. You know the rejection that I've gone through. You know the pain that I've gone through. So could you please connect me with a man that is going to love me for me? I'm tired of having to be something that I'm not. Connect me with a man that is going to accept me for who I am as Nomsa. Somebody that is going to accept me and see me and say, Nomsa, I want to take you out for date where I don't have to try hard to try to speak fancy big words, trying to be something that I'm not. I was like, God, give me, connect me with that man. You know the man that you want to connect me, so connect me with that man. And that was my story. And I left it that way. And I believed in my heart. And I trusted God And I trusted the universe because God created the universe. I trusted the universe. And I had to bind and cast out the spirit of husband, the spirit woman, whatever that you call it. I had to bind and cast out. I prayed and prayed and prayed. But if you're a non-Christian, all you got to do is say out loud and in your heart, what do you desire for the universe to do for you? He is God. What do you desire for God to do it for you, to do for you? I had to say out loud. And my story had been a messed up story. I meet a man, they get excited. A few years later, my life end up with the same story. 9 years, 8 years, I'm single again. So I got tired of that. So I had to learn the skills. I had to learn as a Christian. I had to learn to be a Christian, proper Christian. No more boobies out. If a man loves me that much, they'll approach me because I am beautiful. I had to believe that I am unique and I am beautiful. So I didn't have to put the teddy bears next to me in order for me to manifest my husband. I didn't have to do all those things. I kept things very, very simple. God, you know my story and you know my desires when it comes to life. Connect me with a man that is going to accept me for who I am, that is going to complement the person that I am today, the person that I am. And God connected me with a man in unexpected places. And that's how I got to meet the man. Unexpected places. I went out with my friends. I didn't expect to meet a guy. And that guy, I love to dance. I love music. Music is something that makes me happy. So when music plays, I don't drink, I don't smoke. When music plays, I don't care who's watching. I just go on stage and I go with the rhythm. Takes me away and I dance. I smile. I love to smile a lot. And I love to dance. So I dance, and this guy, English guy, he thought he's a great dancer. And actually I looked at him and I was like, this what you call it dance? And I was like, I don't think so. That's not how we dance in Africa. So I had to show him how we dance. And I was like, I like him. But I left it that way. And he asked for my number. I refused to give him my number all night until I decided to have mercy. Gave him my number, and he ended up being the guy that I love and adore. There was no pillows. There was nothing. If you believe and you trust, whatever you do in life, you don't have to create no spiritual husband. You don't have to create no spiritual wives. You don't have to dress up like keeping your boobies out in order for a man to approach you. You don't have to do all these things. We do it because we love to do it. We do it because some people do it because they don't feel confidence. For me, when I felt the confidence, that's the day when I decided, you know what? I'm going to change my wardrobe, because I realized I didn't have to show my boobs. I didn't have to do anything. All I needed to do is to be me. Even when it comes to business, when it comes to Hope Springs, Tenal Introduction Agency with Ngozi talk shows, I don't have to do some ritual in order for my business to work. All I need to do is to call out God and say, God, this is my desire in your name. He says, I have to quote the scriptures, everything that he says, and I have to claim it. And I have to trust and obey. And I have to believe. That's all you got to do. When you find a man or find a woman and things are not working out, you got to work on binding, and you have to look at your parents' past. If your parents have been married for a very, very long time, so that means you don't have a problem. The problem that you have maybe is the communication. So it could be you don't have a spiritual husband, you don't have a spiritual wife. Sometimes it could be just communications. The problem in the marriage is not just that. It could be just communications. So you've got to learn to communicate, learn the skills of relationships. Once you learn the skills of relationships, if it's not working, then you try the spiritual wife and spiritual husband. That means there's something. So all that, those are the things that you need to look for. And also the beliefs that we have, values are important. And conflicting values as well is very, very, very important. And the values of our spirituality as well, communications and respect. Some things are not just spiritual, some things are just the things that we need to use common sense. So if the relationship is not working, don't say no, said it's just a spiritual husband. Not everybody has a spiritual wife or spiritual husband. No. So sometimes it could be lack of respect. So that's when you have to seek support. When you seek support from professionals. And if that doesn't work, then that's when you need to try the spiritual husband banding and cast out. And also you have to actually, when you are in that relationship, sometimes women have some talking problems, or men have some talking problems and not respecting their wives, or a woman doesn't respect their husband. So those are the kind of things that you just need to look at it. Sometimes it could be just simple things that you just need to respect each other, or you just need to communicate your wants and communicate your desires, or get to know your spouse. Sometimes it could be all those things, just simple things. Or if it comes down to a spiritual husband, that means you got to do some work. So those are the things that you have to be aware of. And I'm going to say, guys, live with grace, everyone. So if you want to get in touch with me, you can get in touch with me on my website, www.hseia.com. You can find me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I have a Facebook group, Ngosi Talk Show's Facebook group. And there's Ngosi Talk Show's page. So you can like our page. If you're following us on YouTube, you can subscribe to our channel. And once you subscribe to our channel, and you can join, there's a membership as well. You can join the membership and be part of us. You have intimacy with all the coaches at Ngosi Talk Shows. Or I have a group, Unique Billionaire Mindset. So you can join that group and be part of Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agency. So there's a Ngosi Talk Show group as well that is hosted by Ngosi Talk Shows. And there is Unique Billionaire Mindset hosted by Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agency. So you can join that. It's all run by me. So you can join that, and a Unique Billionaire Mindset. You can have your logo. When you're commenting, comment when something that has got your logo, so that people can know who you are and what you do. So that's why I created that group. We don't advertise, but we use psychology to advertise. So if you are a professional, you have your own business and you want people to know about your business, you can join the group. And or you can join Ngosi Talk Show's group if you want to be part of a family. and you're looking for love, if you're looking for love, you can go to Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agency website and register. Once you register, I'll get back to you, and then we can talk about the process of the registration and how to move forward. Live with grace, everyone, and God bless. Tomorrow, I will see you at 1 p.m.